You are, and what does your company do?
Yeah, so I'm Brian with CKR Restaurants. We own two restaurants. We own Hardee's, and then we own Carl's Jr. Carl's Jr. primarily grew up on the West Coast, Anaheim, California. Hardee's grew up on the East Coast in Rocky Mount, North Carolina.
And I think I kind of recall a little bit about the story. How did it work to where they both, because you have some people that know Hardee's only, some people that know Carl's Jr. only, and people who travel that know both.
Yeah.
Oh, how do you decide who's a Hardee's and who's a Carl's Jr.?
Yeah, so, since the locations obviously grew up to where they grew up on the West Coast and on the East Coast, we're separated usually by the Mississippi River. And so the Mississippi is usually our divide for Carl's. Carl's primarily stays on the West Coast. However, recently Carl's Jr. has expanded more into our international markets. And so we grow about 150 stores a year abroad with Carl's Jr. And the Happy Star. And in our international domestic markets, we've actually expanded Carl's Jr. into those markets as well. And so yesterday we just opened Doral, Florida. And so that'll be the first time since our New York expansion that Carl's Jr. will jump east of the Mississippi River. And
that's actually that's an amazing differentiator, because it seems like if somebody has the if you already love Hardee's or you already love Carl's Jr., it seems like if the franchise is allowing it, why not be the Hardee's around all the Carl's Jr. or the Carl's Jr. around all the Hardee's?
Yeah.
Like, how did that lucky franchisee get to do that?
Yeah, so it was actually an international franchisee. They owned 18 stores abroad. They sold obviously their stake into what they were doing, and then they moved here to the U.S. to open stores. It used to be a corporate employee, so that employee, I think they ran parts of Mexico and different parts of the abroad markets when they worked for our office. And he said, "Look, I will open up the brand, but I will only open up Carl's Jr. because that's where his love and passion for the brands were." And that's what he came and did. And so he signed a 25 store plus agreement to open up stores here in Miami and different markets around it. And our first one was yesterday, and we'll continue to open them up from there.
Man, that's amazing, beautiful. So if somebody, because this is, I'm just now starting to walk around. We're at a franchise expo. You're probably one of the most well-known brands I've seen so far. If somebody wanted to get a little piece of that goodwill of Hardee's and Carl's Jr., what could they expect to have to come up with?
Yeah, so a minimum investment would be it's $300,000 liquid per store, and then it's $1 million gross assets or net assets per store. That is our financial requirement. That's on new builds. If you were to purchase stores, those financial requirements can be flexed or a little bit different. It just depends on what would be inside of that APA or that purchase agreement. And so some stores, it's a turnaround story, and it's a practically free given store, and so you wouldn't need much financial capital other than what would be required to remodel that store. And so if you were going to remodel the store, we would take a look at those costs that you're going to incur. But obviously most of our franchisees, I would say 95% are building new stores, not acquiring stores. And so those would be the requirements.
And I never thought about that because I know a famous business model of a restaurant is we own the real estate. It sounds like what you're saying is some of your franchisees own the real estate. They might be retiring because they're not selling out. The margins are too good and too consistent, but they might be retiring. Somebody could potentially not have to have 300 liquid, $1 million in assets if they were to align themselves with that person.
There's some people who work for franchisees, obviously, who then take over stores, and it's almost like a rent structured deal where they structured inside the rent to buy them out over a long period of time. Every situation is different, and every franchisee is different. Sometimes people, they gray out of a system or exit a system, and they keep their real estate, and then they, same thing, they find buyers, but then the real estate is where they make their money into retirement.
Okay. What are the typical margins that these franchisees are seeing?
So that would be disclosed in our FDD, and so that one, obviously is unique for each individual franchisee, but we don't hide it. We definitely post that information. It's accessible at any point. Obviously I can send it to you, or it's accessible on any websites that post FDDs.
Oh no, that's perfect, man.
Yeah.
So for anybody wanting to get one more question, I got to, because fast food. is there nothing that differentiates Hardee's and Carl's Jr. from another fast food place?
I think Carl's and Hardee's Jr. They look for that craveable product, and so they want large, big burgers that people crave to come back to. And so, I think the product is a little bit better, just a little bit, kind of more unique. Same thing with your morning breakfast. And so on the Hardee's side, we make our biscuits in-house. And so I don't think a lot of people know that you've got a biscuit maker who comes in every morning at 4:30 or 5 in the morning, makes the dough, makes the biscuits by hand, and actually goes through. And so I don't think you've got a lot of fast food today that actually goes and has a biscuit maker who's making those biscuits. Usually that's going to be a par-baked biscuit or a biscuit that's coming out frozen, and that's the kind of product you're getting, whereas at Carl's Jr. and Hardee's, you're getting a little bit better of a product.
I'm glad you said that. I think everybody remembers, because I'm 38, so I'm old enough to remember where most fast food places had real biscuits. I think everybody remember when their favorite fast food place switched to the had to be frozen solid biscuit.
Right.
Like it went from being fluffy to
right. Yep.
like
a Bible bread. Product, and we don't necessarily communicate it out, but we go through our product each year, and we do quality control, and obviously we look at some of our product, and there's tours we have, and we say, man, that wasn't a good burger, and why wasn't it a good burger? And some of it was due to potentially the way we stored the product inside after it was cooked, or the length of time it took to. So we're revising always our process to make it a little bit better, a little easier on the franchisee, but also for the customer to taste that product, so you're getting a nice juicy burger versus something that might be dried out and sitting for a long time.
Man, that's good, man. For one more time, for people who maybe want to get a part of this, because I know you grew up with the Hardee's and the Carl's Jr. in your neighborhood, and maybe never thought it was possible. If they did want to just imagine it being possible, tell them again, who are you and how do they get in touch?
Yeah, so again, my name's Brian. I'm the Senior Director of Franchise Sales and Development for CKE, and if you wanted to get in touch, you can go to our website and any of the franchisings for Carl's or Hardee's, or you could give me a call or send me an email at bolson, BOLSON, at CKR.com.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you.